Grady.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Charisse.
And welcome to Highlights, a show where we recap a reality competition show, usually a drag one, like it's sports, even though it's not. In this season, we are covering season 14 of RuPaul's Drag Race. And I have to say, once again, I'm super upset about this episode. I have a lot of feelings. We're going to get into those feelings previously on Drag Race. Last week's episode was the Daytona Wind, where the queens were tasked with filming an 80s style soap opera with a twist, as we found out. So our episode opens up, of course, after the queens are released from the design challenge and come back to the workroom after Maddie's elimination. Daya Betty immediately goes off about thinking Jorgeous didn't deserve the win. She called her a napkin. And vented once again her frustrations about not being seen the way she wants to be seen on this program.
Right. No one who has ever done this has ever left painted in a good light, because you always look like people.
Right.
And it absolutely looks like whoever the person is not taking onus of their own responsibility for their own experience on the show, right? And the experience can be whatever they make it to be. And if they make it to be this negative confessional where it's the Bob show or whatever it might be, right? Like there was that one queen that was super bitter about being when Bob the drag queen won all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who it was. They're that
It was Thorgy Thor.
Thorgy Thor.
Thank you so much. That's why they're
Why I
forgettable.
don't like Thorgy Thor.
I love
Right.
Thorgy though.
So I get that Thorgy wanted to do her own thing, but Bob winning had absolutely nothing to do with Bob wasn't sabotaging Thor, right? Like no one's sabotaging Daya Betty. She's sabotaging herself.
So we get right into it this episode. So RuPaul comes out. Once again, there's no mini challenge. We're jumping right into stuff. RuPaul delivers the challenge to the group. Everybody's split into groups, quote unquote, but it's one collective project. They're split into 3 different families to serve the plot of the Daytona Winds. And that's going to be the family of the Michaels, the family of the O'Haras, and the family of the Davenports, all legendary drag families and all legendary drag race families as well, as many of them and their drag moms, daughters, sisters, cousins, roommates, whatevers have been on this show. But Jorgeous, because she did in fact win last week, it'd be funny. I think it would have been hilarious if RuPaul was like, you know what, Daya Betty, since you won last week, why don't you assign all the roles? Oh, wait. No. Anyways, Jorgeous gets to assign all of the roles. And initially, I don't know how I felt about these casting choices, but I eventually fell in love with it.
I was a little unsure about it. I kind of feel like Daya only picked her character because next to Willow Pill, she'd be able to stand out because there's a clear size difference and it would be an easy choice for her. I don't think it had anything to do with her art or artistry. Because when I saw the performance, I was like, well, obviously you're going to stand out. You're a freaking horse next to her. But yeah, I was kind of like a little skeptical of everyone else's choices as well, but it paid off pretty well. Everyone did really good.
I agree as well. I appreciate that Jorgeous didn't try to cast anybody in a spot that they weren't necessarily ready for or prepared for or whatever. She mostly gave everybody their own choice. And that always helps it work out really nicely in the casting and the finished product.
And so they get directed by RuPaul too, which is also like an extra layer of nerves. It's not Michelle, it's not Carson, which is already tough enough, but it's Ru. It's the person making all the big choices. So people really want to shine in these acting challenges when Ru's directing, because Ru likes very specific stuff. And I like that they actually gave him a real set this time. It wasn't Star Wars Episode 1 this time, where they have to react completely with a green screen, like they always do, which I think just makes it even harder, really, for anyone to perform.
Yeah, because they're not like immersed
in
that scene, so it's harder to find your character.
So then it's time to hit the main stage. And I liked RuPaul's dress today. It was pretty simple for RuPaul.
But I like that color.
Yeah, that color always works really well with RuPaul.
It reminds me of a Bob Mackie dress that she wore in one of the first few seasons that I love.
Mm-hmm. I didn't love Michelle's look this week. The only one there. I
It
think her
doesn't even look like
makeup looks
she
good.
loves it. In this picture, she looks kind of off this week.
Yeah. She's like, ugh. She's like, this is the flatulence episode. Her makeup and hair looks great. I don't know about this outfit on her.
They look like
Ross-
pajamas.
They do. They do. So
Very
she came
Hugh
down. She's
Hefner.
like, open up your presents, everyone. Hurry up. Ross, I like Ross's jacket. The whole outfit is kind of whatever, but I like his jacket. Our guest judge this week is T.S. Madison, who's quite the personality in her own right, and she looks actually pretty gorgeous. Nice little simple pink dress, really works on her though. I love that hair on her. She's serving some drag today. I like that. First up, we had Willow Pill though, who I thought looked amazing in her Chaps outfit for the theme this week. Chaps aren't really my thing in fashion, leisure, or in Western function. But I like this futuristic take Willow did on it. It was weird. It was like Fifth Element almost.
I loved it. It was super cohesive. I didn't understand why Chaps was the category for this episode. It seemed very kind of out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought what she did was really cool. It wasn't like super sexualized. It was like fun and very Willow Pill.
I would have to agree. I swear one of the judges dragged Chaps just a few seasons ago. And
Probably.
I would have to agree. I personally don't care for Chaps unless it's literally like for a purpose. Like riding a motorcycle so that the sun and the bugs don't hit you, riding a horse so that the sun and the bugs and the rain don't hit you. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a purpose. I don't necessarily see their purpose on the runway, and they have to be one of my least favorite silhouettes and looks just by how they cut the body in a very awkward way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
but I loved Willow Pill's take on it. For some reason, the symmetrics of it all worked.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
loved the hair, the makeup, the extra alien factor for it. Yeah, loved it. She was one of the
So
tops
good.
for the week for me.
Then we had Bosco. Bosco came out in this awesome pink number.
Come on,
head to
share.
toe. It was probably one of my favorites. Yeah.
This
It
one
was
looked really good.
Mhm. It was
Instantly got
fantastic.
Cher so lovely. So
Mhm.
lovely. Love this. Another one of my tops.
I feel like this could have looked really trashy, but she made it look really elegant. Like looking at it, I wouldn't be able to be like, oh, it's Chaps. Like that's the category, because it just looked very drag and elevated. I really
Mhm.
liked it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Willow and Bosco were robbed today.
Mhm.
We'll get there.
I would have to agree. I would totally have to say that I would have gone with Bosco and Willow
Mhm.
for the two tops. They were I loved it. And Lady Camden too. Oh my goodness.
Jasmine Kennedy was graduating for some reason in her Chaps. I hated it so much. I didn't understand it. And then Ross, like, I don't know what the judges were thinking. I think we'll talk about it in a second, but I think that was some riggery. And then Ross
Mhm.
throws her a bone of like, did you go to Chapman University? And she's like, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah. And I would have been like, that's exactly what I meant by this look. You know what I mean?
Right. I wrote no thank you. Bottom.
No, thank you.
No thanks.
Yeah, it
No,
was
thank
awful.
you.
When she was explaining it as she came out, I was like, this is dumb. This is stupid. This makes no sense.
Respectfully decline this look. Then we had Deja Sky and her blue number. She had the little blue jump bodysuit looking thing, and then she had the blue chaps over it and that bright red
Oompa.
hair.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst for me, but it definitely wasn't the best. Definitely safe,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but like lower end safe.
I didn't really care for it. Her makeup was beautiful, beautiful, but I didn't really like the outfit. She looks really good in that color. There was something about the way that it was cut that it didn't accentuate her the way that it could have, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, she looked fantastic. It just wasn't her best for me.
Lady Camden. Lady Camden. This was so genius. She came out in her chaps, but she had like this flowing piece attached to her chaps, and she had this white wig, and she looked all pretty. And then she tumbled face first onto the runway, and everybody was concerned, and I was sold on it. I was like, oh God, no.
I gagged. Oh my goodness. I was so worried. Oh my God.
It's like, what? Yeah, she popped her up and revealed that Freddie Mercury stash, and she was selling it all over the stage. This was one of the greatest things.
It was genius.
Goodness.
It was like in season 2 when Tyra does that thing where she pops up off her knees.
Yeah.
It was like that magic moment where you're like literally shocked, and it's like all about the performance.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. I loved it.
Lady Camden brought so much drama to the runway. It was unforgettable. I wrote down, yes, 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 top on the runway. Like, I loved her. The whole presentation.
Yeah.
It was a magic.
Then we had Carrie Colby. Nope. I didn't like this. I hated it so much. I like the idea of it. She had hers were made out of hair.
It was all hair. It almost looked like Sigourney Beaver's Hairy Monsters outfit, where there just wasn't enough hair, and it was all kind of just. Did you just
not the
decide
wolf
to only
girl?
Shave your legs like that? Are you trying to be one of those landscape trees?
For me, it was like, when Maddie came out in her like stormy like spring rain outfit, and then Bosco came out and showed her how you should really do it at RuPaul's Drag Race. I feel like Carrie Colby and Bosco were the same in this situation, whereas Bosco's was how that look probably should have been executed, and that's what it would look like if it was perfectly polished, and Carrie's was like the meh version of that outfit.
Angeria's looked amazing. Yeah,
I love the drama that Angeria brings with her shoulder pads and her shoulders and stuff. It's so 1980s dynasty. Designing women, just fantastic. Angeria always looks good on the runway. She looked good again this week. I mean, if there were four tops, she would have been in the top. But Lady Camden and Willow and Bosco just ruled the runway for me this week.
Absolutely. Then we had Jorgeous, who came out in lingerie, and I don't think this really read as chaps to me.
It's not.
And I would argue that they are in fact not chaps. I don't know. If she had this made, I want to know, like, were they labeled as chaps? Like, was that?
Are you misinformed as to what they are? Have you seen chaps before?
Exactly. I feel like there needs to be a larger conversation.
I would have to agree. I felt like she was walking the runway for Rihanna's Fenty Savage line rather than like it wasn't chaps at all. I mean, it looked great. I love the lace. Her wig was awesome. Her makeup was beautiful as always. Absolutely. But I didn't get this for the chaps thing, and I would have read her the house down.
Yeah, and nobody brought it up.
Because everybody knows that a lady carries an evening bag.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't bring it up with her, but anyways. Next we had Daya. It was an okay outfit. I thought it was a step in the right direction, and I kind of said that when we were watching. I was like, a step in the right direction. I don't think it's enough for me.
I did not like this look. It was like the opening scene of Titanic when Rose gets out of the car, but like got out as a stripper instead. I hated it. I didn't like it at all. And it has not as much to do with the fact that I don't like Daya. I just didn't like this look. It didn't flatter her. I don't know what she was doing. I didn't like it. It didn't vibe with me at all.
I liked part of Daya look, and then I didn't like part of it. Like, I feel like the hair and the hat got lost together. I liked the hair choice with it. I feel like the hat could have been a slightly different color and made the hair stand out a little bit. I liked the top portion of it, and I liked the shoes in the bottom portion of it. I just didn't like the chaps open part of it. I wasn't sure if it needed a thong in the back. There was just something, I don't know. And I'm here for androgyny. Janelle Monáe is like my jam. She's gorgeous. I love the way she rocks things out, but this wasn't for me so much.
You know, it's almost like the top and the bottom would have worked as their own outfits, but not together. It looked really weird when they met.
Yes.
And it was like, I'm not getting this. This is weird.
Yes.
I will say her makeup did look a lot less method.
It really
for
did.
this look. So
I noticed that.
I like that she took that feedback.
Our notes, for sure.
Yeah.
I like that she's a subscriber to highlights and she took
For
the
sure.
notes.
Then it's time to premiere the Daytona Wind. And Ru has decided to surprise the cast with a director's cut, which includes the Daytona Wind indeed. A lot of the jokes suddenly make sense, and the directing Ru provided suddenly makes a lot of sense. And here we are. This isn't my particular taste of humor, so I really struggled to love this. But even as a fan watching this show, as many of the fans have been pointing out, they've really, especially in the last few years, have really discouraged this kind of humor on the show and have really been upset when queens have tried to pull it out.
Really, really discouraged this kind of humor.
Yeah.
All throughout the seasons.
Yeah. And so to see essentially the entire episode be dedicated to it seems a little hypocritical to me. But nevertheless, here we are. Everybody did an okay job.
They did.
Yeah.
I feel like Deja Sky could have, given the notes they were given, I feel like she could have gone way more over the top with the drama, especially to open the episode.
Right.
Like, I feel like her Southern drawl really didn't ever get there. I don't know what kind of voices and tones and accents some people were doing during this skit, but it was way too much for me. I struggled through the entire 2 hours of this episode.
I love that Ru read her for being a Californian because she couldn't do a Southern drawl. I was like,
Has she never heard Britney, y'all? Has she never heard Britney talk, y'all?
right.
Have there not been enough girls on the season to like have a draw, y'all?
Tops and bottoms for this week. So surprise, not only was the challenge weird, the rest of the entire episode is going to get really weird because as it turns out, spoiler alert, yeah, this is one of the filler episodes of the season, which now Drag Race has included a number of. So with this being a filler episode, nobody's going home. So instead of tops and bottoms, we get all tops.
There's no way. I did not like this many people in the challenge. There were so many people that were forgettable.
Yeah.
Absolutely forgettable in the challenge.
I definitely call shenanigans. We get told that Bosco, Willow Pill, Daya Betty, Lady Camden, Jorgeous, and Jasmine are all in the top. So
Yeah, it's very deliberate that they didn't. It's not on sheer talent and amazing capability that they didn't.
I agree.
As I said, I disagree so much with the judges this week. It stressed me out. I ate almost an entire pizza during this episode because I couldn't handle it.
Yes.
And it wasn't just that they were all tops. It was that all of the people that they absolutely adored were the people that probably should have been in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just like, what were they thinking? It was a weird Twilight Zone episode.
I think it was a production storyline episode is what this was.
I sat there wondering if I was a delusional one. Like, is my lens wrong? Is my lens as an audience member somehow messed up? Like, am I the problem? I disagree with the judges so much. Like, maybe it's me. I don't know.
No.
I was so like, yeah.
It seems like
I felt
the general
gaslit.
fandom was pretty much where we were at. And I will say even like the pit stop, like, you know, Monet and Adore Delano reviewed this episode and said the same thing. They were like, I don't know what is going on. But they were like, I hate Diabetes' outfit. I don't know why she's in the top. all this stuff. They hated Jasmine's outfit. I felt very vindicated.
You know what's interesting, and I thought this afterwards, is I don't know that it would have been as easy to swallow if Carson was the judge instead of Ross. Because Carson tends to have more input about fashion choices and garment construction and whether or not an outfit makes sense. And Ross is more like, I like Ross as a judge, but he tends to just go on like the basic vibe of like what they intended to do. Whether or not it actually executed on the runway, though, is another story.
Okay, so everybody returns to the main stage. Daya, Betty, and Lady Camden are confirmed to be the top 2. Everybody else is safe. Go ahead.
I wrote down, this is not happening, when Daya Betty was listed as was announced as one of the winners. I was like, this is not happening.
This can't be reality.
Anyways, the 2 lip sync for the win to One Way or Another by Blondie. And this was actually a pretty good lip sync. I really enjoyed watching it. And even Daya Betty, who I will say, given all the problems I have with her, she didn't do as much as Lady Camden. I don't think she's got the background that Lady Camden has, especially with dancing and things like that. But I liked Daya Betty's performance too. I liked both of them doing stuff on the stage. It was really engaging. I hate it when it's like one person's obviously really good and then the other person just like is whatever. But Daya Betty had some good energy. I felt it from her. But that being said, Lady Camden won this lip sync within 5 seconds.
Oh, for sure.
Killed it.
It's super funny how when you're lip syncing for the win, nobody ever takes their shoes or their wig off.
There's no desperation.
Right. Yeah, there's no stripping on this during the lip sync.
Because they're not freaking out. They're not anxious. They're not desperate. So Lady Camden, I love that Lady Camden, before lip syncing, painted on another mustache under the mustache and did another reveal for the lip sync of the painted mustache. Like she was going to take it off. Hilarious. Absolutely deserved it. And finally,
she's a performer.
Yes. Finally bumps up the scoreboard a little bit for her. It's time for top tweets.
These tweets were amazing.
Getting into the scoreboard. So, as always, here's the competitors we started with, and here's who we still have left because it was a filler episode. Nobody got eliminated. Elimination order is exactly the same, and people up for elimination, all that stuff is also exactly the same because we didn't get anywhere this episode. However, challenge wins and rankings have changed a little bit, and Daya Betty continuing to be my outlier, the only person who's actually been eliminated and have been trying to bounce back from that, really messes up my stats. And I think with how high she placed this episode, it really skewed some things for me. I'm going to break that down in a second. Angeria, though, still the front runner. She's the only one with 2 challenge wins under her belt. Lady Camden now joining Willow Pill, Bosco, and Jorgeous as the other front runners, coming in 2nd place. Carrie Colby now in 3rd place. Daya Betty, this is the weird one, I know, and I'm gonna explain why this is the way it is. Daya Betty now in 4th place, above Jasmine Kennedy and Deja Sky. The reason for that being Daya Betty, yes, having one rough episode, was completely eliminated and brought back. However, she's placed safe or high since then. And this past episode Had it been a different lip sync partner, could have taken the win. We really don't know, and I can't really ignore that. So she placed extremely high.
God forbid.
I know. I was scared. Jasmine Kennedy and Deja Sky have both been up for elimination and then have placed low afterward on another episode. And then otherwise have been pretty middle ground safe, which is why I think now now I'm starting to do it. Charisse. That's why now Daya Betty has now.
I'm sorry.
It's spreading.
Yeah, I know.
All the
my
basic
gosh.
ones just morph together.
Yeah. Anyways, Deja Betty Kennedy now placing. No,
Yes.
just kidding.
It's a less good version of Alyssa Edwards, and it's a less good version of Crystal Method. And then there's Deja Sky.
There's Deja Sky. And then there's Maud. But Daya Betty, while not completely rising to the expectations I think she has for herself and the judges have for her, she is on a little bit of a rise, and now I think has definitely passed up Jasmine Kennedy and Deja Sky. Those are the next two I think are circling the drain next, personally. And that pretty much catches us up. So next week's episode, which hopefully we actually send someone home, is going to be 60s girl groups. It'll be a girl group challenge. So we'll get to see how they all perform together. From the math, since we didn't send anybody home this week, I think we're now still 2 weeks away from Snatch Game. I'm excited to see a girl group challenge. I'm excited to see people actually go home.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
excited. I'm excited to see the stats start to really shape out as we get to the halfway point and get ever so close to those semifinals. If you would like to see more of our ongoing and previous coverage of season 14 of RuPaul's Drag Race, you can do that right here on PG Media, along with a bunch of other content you can find here on the channel as well. Subscribe today so you don't miss out. Also, you can follow PG Media on social media. You can find that in the description below. And with that, as always,
Thank you for watching highlights.
And we'll see you next time.